Good morning. It's Tuesday, March the 5th, 2024, and I'm making this video intuitively. So I felt prompted to make this today. And so we're going to be focusing on the basics, really, of the calendar and how to use it. That's the most important thing, how to use this amazing tool. I'm making this today as we're in the center. We're here and we're on Yellow Warrior, Rhythmic Yellow Warrior. So day 6 of the Blue Monkey wave spell, which is right in the center spinal column. And as you can see, this has a key pattern to it, which is a DNA thread. So this, I believe, experientially is about working with the human being process to transform our ancestors' experience so that we bring a new human being level of evolution into the world. So in a snapshot, and it is an incredibly complex thing, and I have only scratched the surface. So I've been working with it intuitively every day for 13 years now. And so in my opinion, it is an experiential process. So it's about tuning into the calendar every day and your own personal experience. So each one is unique, which is why it's difficult often to share these things, because there is no linear approach to it. This is about spirals. This is about using our intuition and really expanding that awareness more. Of course, that's coming in more and more on the planet now. So it isn't like a regular calendar. So the calendar that we use in the West, generally speaking, is a Gregorian calendar, and it has 365 days. There are different versions of what is called the Mayan calendar. And this one in particular is a Dreamspell, which has been created on purpose to create a shift for the human being if they use it in the way that it's meant to be used. So the old count is a whole different thing, and I'm not going to talk about that. This is a calendar that I've been using. For some people using the old count, they don't seem to have a way to allow this calendar, and there seems to be arguments about it. So I'm not going to get into any of that, and I never have. All I can say to you is, if you do this process, you will know what I mean, because it is mind-blowing stuff. And I have complete faith in the system, and I also use it with astrology, and I use it with tapping, emotional freedom technique, to help me clear my ancestral patterning that is no longer applicable. It's past its sell-by date. And I also help other people to do that as well. So I try and translate it as much as I can into everyday language, but it is difficult because it is incredibly complex. So here we go. This is how I'm going to try and explain it on a very simple level without going into too much detail. So let's see how that works. Okay, so 20 Mayan signs and 13 different versions of them, 13 different vibrations. And altogether, that makes 260 days. So 260 days is a 9-month process. We begin the process here, goes down and up and down. And So basically, it takes us through these different processes. And the colours that are used, they are very important as well. So that's the difference. 260 days, not 365 days. This is a synergiser, so it's synchronizing us with natural time, with the universe. The Gregorian calendar is not doing that process at all. This is about the spiritual path. It's about understanding ourselves, our story, why we're here, what we've come here for, the heart path, which is today's energy, how to get in the groove of it and let go of the old programming so that we come into complete alignment, which is big. It takes a lot of work. It's about healing. It's about not doing the old patterns and allowing the new ones to come in so that we're healthy and operating as a human being in a way that is how we're meant to be rather than how we have been conditioned to be for thousands of years. Okay, so are you with me so far? So the colours are important: red, white, blue, and yellow. And in this case, we've got a green. Okay, that's only in terms of doing this process. In terms of doing our own personal process, we've got red, white, blue, and yellow. And so one of the very important numbers is 13. So whereas we see the Gregorian calendar in terms of a week of 7 days, these processes are 13 days long. And the way that I see these, they're called wave spells, is they are DNA processes. So these black squares, when we get to these are Akashic record. They're called galactic activation portals. And in my experience, the reason that they're called that is because when we're on those days or years, then we will be having a repeating experience that often is challenging to show us that there's something to be healed and cleared. So at the moment, as I said, we're in the middle, but you can see we've got 10 here, which is, my fingers going there. We've got 10 here, which is where we went in, which is, that's gone past now. We're here now. And when we finish this bit here, we'll be starting at the top again and coming into this part here and going into another 10-day process. So I'm giving you a heads up that we're in the middle at the moment. And so again, to go into the colours, we've got red is awakening, we've got white is refining, we've got blue is transforming, and we've got yellow, which is a manifestation. So red, white, blue, yellow, that's the numbers that they go through. So this process repeats in 13 days and also in 13 years. On a personal level, we have 13-year cycles. So you might know your Mayan sign. So for example, my Mayan sign is blue solar hand. And if you use the calculator, so if you're not aware of that, there is a calculator that you can use to a decoder to work out what your Mayan sign is, what everybody else's Mayan sign is that you know in your family, very important. What year you're on of your journey. And so your Mayan sign only comes up in this process every 52 years. So unless we live till 104, which most people don't, then the 52-year birthday is very important because that means we have completed 4 lots of 13-year cycles. And so we've got a 13-year cycle in red, we've got a 13-year cycle in white, a 13-year cycle in blue, and a 13-year cycle in yellow. And depending what our Mayan sign is, and this is where it gets a bit confusing, Because it's a spiral, so for example, I'm a blue solar hand, and that means I came in on a year 9 of a 13-year process of blue storm. So I'm using the language now, okay? So it can get a bit confusing. But what does that mean? It means that as a number 9, I have a key mission to go through a gateway. So again, this is another deeper aspect. So the other members of my tribe, so if you decode your birthday, you'll notice that every year you have a different Mayan signature, because as I'm trying to explain, it's a 13-year process. So for example, I am now in a 13-year process in my yellow castle. Again, because I'm 58, and so I've completed 52 years, and now I'm repeating this cycle. So I am in a 13-year cycle of yellow human, because each Mayan sign has 4 tribal energies: red, white, blue, and yellow. And so for me, red is red earth. White wind is my refining. So red earth is my awakening. White wind is my refining. Blue hand is my transformation and my Mayan sign. And yellow human is my manifestation. So I'm in a 13-year cycle of yellow human right now, seeing what I've manifested over my lifetime. And so again, it's not a linear thing, and we don't all share the same 13-year cycles at all. If you want any assistance with this, this is what I do. I help people decode. If you're 52 and over, then this is very significant for you. If you're approaching being 52, this is very useful information for you as well. Whatever age you are, you can have your cycles understood up until the age that you are, and then any of the others are going to be future ones. And so how useful is that? Well, it's amazingly useful. So let me try and explain that. So whenever we have, so this is like the universal pattern, okay? Just like we have astrology, so things are happening in the starry skies, things are going on, we've got transits going on. And when a planet comes back to where it was when we were born, then that's very significant. Or when a planet is in the opposite place to where we were born, such as Uranus, for example, this creates energetic shifts in our body. So again, it happens anyway. All of this is happening anyway. But if you become aware of it, if you become awake to that, then you're working on a different level. You're working on a conscious level. So you're getting a heads up all the time. So for example, I do new moon workshops. There's one coming up this Saturday. And so if you find out that the new moon in Pisces is also your moon, if you find out that this new moon has a number, has a degree that's very close to your new moon, then it's going to be significant. You're going to feel the energy more than somebody who doesn't have that connection. And so again, if you're aware of this, then you can work with that awareness and set an intention, which is where the magic comes in. So to go back to when this is operating, so whenever we're in a red, we are awakening. And again, the macro and the micro. So if we're in a red, so we've got red, white, blue, and yellow wave spells within each one of these. And each one of these, they're called castles, is 52 days. That's just 4 times 13. Okay. So 13, 13, 13, 13, and 13, the green, which is the magical in the heart space. But let's just stay with these colours for now. Okay, so we've been through the red castle of awakening. We've done the white castle of refining. We're now in the blue of transforming. And so During that period, we would be having lots of awakening things going on. During that period, we would be like looking back on this one saying, okay, what happened then? What did I become aware of? What can I do with that information? How can I refine that information so I can get clear about, is this true? Is it distortion? How am I not aware of it? And in the blue, how can I transform these two so that by the time I get to this one, I'm going to be manifesting something very different than if I hadn't been doing this process and just carrying on doing the same old same. And so in terms of when these processes are going on, we have also got a personal process going on. And so when you know your codes, so for example, here in the blue code, you will have a 13-year cycle. You will either already have done it if you're 52, in which case, knowing that each day, okay, so that I'm repeating a pattern of that particular year in my life, that can really help you understand what's going on. Because what I offer you is, we are in a magical mystery tour. We're in a school. We're in a place where we have a script, we have a story, we have a mission. And the more that we become aware of it, the more that we can really understand things on a whole different level. And when we've got tools to use each day, then we can work with the energy rather than feeling a bit lost, disempowered, don't know what's going on. I offer you that's what we're here for at this time. It's just the most amazing time. Even though it's very challenging at times, the more that we become aware, the more we can work with this energy, and it's designed for our evolution. So I hope that makes sense. So again, every time we're in a red, it doesn't matter where it is here, but when we're in a red wave spell, then we're going to be working with our red wave spell. When we're in a white, it's the same. So once you know these details, these 52 codes, your own 52-year codes, then you can work with this conscious awareness. And that makes a huge difference. If it's something that you haven't yet done, this is even more magical, because then you can work with conscious intent. Instead of just working unconsciously every day, you can say, okay, so this day today is going to be in my future. And what do I want to change? What do I want to manifest? So again, with this new moon in Pisces coming up, this is so magical because this is the dream time. This is the vision quest. And so we're going to be focusing on that in the new moon circle. We're going to be looking at what is our heart's desire, what are we here to do, what are we here to create, and what beliefs do we have about that? How can we look back to the past and work with the lessons that we've learned, but not be stuck by them, not be held by repeating our ancestors' story over and over again. And believe me, after working with hundreds of people over many years, I have seen this so many times. We are often stuck in a holograph, and we've had it since our childhood. We inherited it from our ancestors. I use emotional freedom technique and tapping, and this really helps us shift that energy so we can be free from it. So we're not stuck in fear, even though logically we might see what's manifest around us that's proved that we have been very successful in whatever area of our life, in whatever endeavor that we have chosen, whatever quest we've been on. And yet our emotional mind, our belief system inside still doesn't believe it, because we are still holding on to some beliefs. So it may be around not feeling confident, it may be a deep, deep, ancient, ancestral belief system around money, not feeling good enough. And again, all I can say to you is these tools are here now to be used. So the more that we tune into them and start to free ourselves from the past using the magical numbers of 52 and 13. So 13 is a cosmic shift number instead of the number 12, which is the Gregorian calendar. Becoming aware of how numbers make a magical difference, becoming aware of how these tools were made for this time is totally transformative. So I hope that's been useful for you. And if you have any questions, please do get in touch with me. My website is flowwithjo.com. And thank you for taking part in this journey with me at this amazing transformation time. Lots of love. Bye for now.